Good evening, everybody. We're going to start the evening with a song. Thank you so much for being here. We're the Wild Hymns. Very happy to be here with you all tonight. I think that you'll know this song, so please do sing along if you know it. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day and the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies crying, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Good evening, York County. Welcome to the York County Community Foundation's annual meeting. My name is Harold Myers, and I'm now going board chair of the York County Community Foundation. Let's give the Wild Hymns another round of applause. We will be seeing them later on in the program. Very nice. Tonight is a special night. We are celebrating 65 years of generosity in this community. We open the evening with What a Wonderful World. Like YCCF, that song was born in the 1960s and reminds us to pause, appreciate, and feel grateful for the world around us. And tonight, there's a lot to be grateful for in York County. We are lucky to call York County home. And it's because of all of you here tonight, we get to celebrate this community and the people and partnerships that power it. You may have seen the annual report on your chair when you arrived. This year, we're celebrating the generosity of the people and partnerships powering York County, and tonight is a perfect reflection of that theme. Being board chair of such an important community organization takes generosity of time and partnership with the staff and other board members. I've been honored to serve as board chair at YCCF, and I'm pleased to be handing over the reins to someone who also believes deeply in the mission of the YCCF, incoming board chair, Mike Glazier.
Thank you, Harold. This evening wouldn't be possible without our sponsors. We are deeply grateful to Barley Snyder, CGA Law Firm, Fulton Bank, Glatfelter Insurance Group, Powder Mill Foundation, Production Express, RKL, Rock Commercial Real Estate, Traditions Bank, Wagman, Wellspan Health, and the York Water Company. How about a round of applause for our sponsors? And 3 of our sponsors are celebrating some big milestones tonight, or this year as well. Rock Commercial Real Estate, 25 years. Glatfelter Insurance Group, 75 years. And the York Water Company, 210 years. Not too shabby. Congratulations and thank you for investing in this community alongside us and remaining committed to a vibrant York County. We're also honored to welcome several elected officials this evening. Senator Kristen Phillips Hill, Representative Joe Dorsey, Representative Wendy Fink, the Office of Representative Kate Klunk, York County Commissioner Scott Burford, York County Commissioner Doug Hoke, Mayor of the City of York, Sandy Walker, and Mayor of York Haven Borough, Christine Ebersol. How about a round of applause for them? Thank you for your leadership, your service, and your support of the power of endowment in York County. This community is stronger because of your partnership across several sectors, including the nonprofit sector. We truly appreciate you taking time to be here with us this evening. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize a few of the members of our board. First and foremost, our outgoing board chair, Harold Myros. Under Harold's leadership, the foundation completed a new strategic plan and set a strong course for the future. Harold, thank you for your leadership and for your service. We're grateful you'll continue to share your experience with us on the board in the year ahead. As Tim Warfield's time on our board comes to an end, we're reminded of how his expertise and leadership in economic development have shaped both our organization and our community. Tim has also been a passionate advocate for racial justice, expanding opportunity for all. Tim, thank you for your time, wisdom, and heart you've shared with the foundation. In recognition of his service, we've donated the book Black History is for Everyone by Brian Jones to the York County Library System as a small token of our appreciation. A round of applause for Tim. And with gratitude for our current leaders, we're also excited to welcome someone new to our board. Julia Parrish is a council attorney at Barley Snyder, specializing in estate planning and trusts and estate administration. Professional advisors are some of our most important partners at the foundation, and we're excited to have Julia lend her expertise to us. These are truly the people and partnerships that move our community forward. And now, it's my pleasure to welcome someone who lives and breathes this work every day, the one and only Natalie Gunnarsson, President and CEO of the foundation.
Whatever we just did there. Thank you so much, Mike, and thank you everyone for being here. It is a pleasure to serve as the president and CEO of the York County Community Foundation. And we're so glad you're here to celebrate the beauty and the power of York County. Tonight is about one thing, and it's generosity. The generosity that has shaped York County for generations. The generosity that's bringing us together in this room tonight. And the generosity that continues to build the future of our community. At YCCF, we have the privilege of stewarding that generosity every day, growing it, investing it, and putting it to work so it can support York County, not just for today, but forever. Before I share more, I want to pause and recognize the YCCF team. Their care, integrity, and passion make this work possible and fun every day. Please join me in thanking the team. When people ask what success looks like for a community foundation, the answer is simple. It looks like generosity in action. Because of you, in 2025, $10.6 million in new gifts created 24 new funds that will support York County forever. Nonprofits added nearly $5 million to their endowments, strengthening the long-term resilience and sustainability of their organizations. We awarded a record $11.8 million in grants and scholarships across York County to 417 nonprofit organizations. Come on, Kevin, you're my hype man over there. Let's go. We remained one of the top 5 community foundations in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and in the top 100 in the country. That's you, York. That's you. In 2025, we also supported the York County Nonprofit Collaborative focused on building bridges, understanding, and trust for greater success and strategic collaboration among our sector. Generosity also means thinking about the kind of community we want to grow older in. None of us, right? Not me. York County completed its first 5-year age-friendly action plan, and we've already begun the next phase of this work in collaboration with the York County Planning Commission. Shout out to Mike Pritchard and his great work, so that all people of all ages can live and thrive in York County. Those numbers that we just shared represent decades of generosity, of people investing in a future that they may never personally see, but they believe in deeply. And what does that generosity make possible? It helps students step confidently into their futures through scholarships. It supports families working towards stability through access to housing, transportation, and healthcare. It fuels career pathways, strengthens opportunities for children and youth, and invests in the arts and cultural life that make York County vibrant. It helps nonprofits stay strong while giving them the resources to grow and innovate for tomorrow. Nearly half of this year's grant making supported the day-to-day operations that keep nonprofit organizations strong and reliable. The other half helped launch and expand programs so that they can reach more individuals in more meaningful ways. That is the power of community philanthropy, meeting immediate needs while also building long-term solutions at the same time. And as inspiring and exciting as 2025 was, we are even more excited about 2026 and what lies ahead. In 2026, YCCF celebrates 65 years of service to York County. For 65 years, this community has been building something remarkable, a permanent, growing source of support for the place we all love and call home. Our mission in 2026 remains clear. We bring people together, connect generosity with community needs, and invest those resources so they are available for York County's future forever. Over the next 3 years, as part of our strategic plan, we will deepen partnerships with our donors, with our professional advising community. We will strengthen collaboration among nonprofits, and focus our grant making for even greater impact in partnership with our other countywide organizations. Although the future is bright, we'd like to take a moment to honor and reflect on the generosity that brought us here today and the future it's creating. Please join me in watching a short video celebrating 65 years of impact and what we're going to continue to build together.
65 years ago, community leaders came together with a simple belief: that generosity, when cared for and invested wisely, could shape York County in meaningful and lasting ways. In 1961, the York County Community Foundation was founded to connect people who care with the causes that strengthen our community. What began as a bold idea has grown into a powerful partnership between donors, nonprofits, and neighbors, all working together to support York County. At YCCF, donors are the heart of everything we do. Individuals, families, and businesses come to us because they care deeply about this community. They want to support education, improve quality of life, and strengthen the place we call home. Our role is to turn that generosity into meaningful impact. We listen, we learn what matters most, and together we build charitable funds that continue to support York County. Over time, YCCF has grown beyond the traditional grant maker into a convener and change maker. We bring partners together, study community needs, and focus resources where they can make the greatest difference. Today, YCCF stewards more than $254 million in charitable assets, entrusted to us by people committed to this community. Since 1961, generous donors working through YCCF have invested $131 million in grants. Each year, more than 400 organizations receive funding through these efforts, helping meet essential needs, inspire creativity, and strengthen communities across York County. Behind every grant is a story, a family finding stability, a neighborhood growing safer and more connected, natural spaces preserved for future generations, new opportunities taking root across our county. Because philanthropy isn't only about giving, it's about being part of something bigger. Whether someone wants to support a favorite nonprofit, respond to emerging needs, or create something that lasts beyond their lifetime, YCCF provides the guidance and stewardship to make it possible. Every person has a choice to simply live in a community or to help shape it. Here in York County, that choice is made every day by people who show up for one another, who invest in possibility, who believe in what this community can become. Together, we're building a stronger York County, today and into the future. York County Community Foundation. What will your legacy be?
When you watch that video, one thing becomes very clear. This story has never been about one person, one day, 1 year, or even one single organization. It is a story of neighbors caring for neighbors, a community built on values of philanthropy, a community that shows up with ideas, commitment, and hard work to make things happen, generation after generation. We cannot talk about our history without mentioning our first executive director and founder of our Women's Giving Circle, Carolyn Steinhauser. Carolyn's commitment to strategic philanthropy is a powerful example of how generosity has shaped this community. And to honor that legacy, we welcome Jolene Tolbert, chair of the Women's Giving Circle, to the stage.
Good evening. For those of you who may not be familiar with the Women's Giving Circle, we are a group of about 70 women who use the collective giving model to give thoughtfully considered grants to organizations doing work in two main areas in our community: increasing educational opportunity for underserved populations and creating communities where people can thrive. This year's highlights are in your annual report, which you should have at your seat, and we would love to have you join us if this work sounds interesting to you. Tonight, we honor two recipients, I've got to read this so I don't get it wrong, of the Carolyn Steinhauser Prize, named after our founder who championed well-informed, sustainable philanthropy. We thought both of these women deserved the recognition. One gets life off to a good start, and the other hopes to make the end of life a little easier for everyone. Each award comes with $1,000 to be given to a nonprofit of the recipient's choice. Our first award goes to Ruby Martin for her work in early childhood education. She has worked in this field for many years, starting at the YCCF York, and she now uses her talents at the state level, ensuring quality early childhood education for all. Ruby?
Y'all, my heart is so full right now. And Carolyn Steinhauser, I met her when I was probably 23-year-old director at the YWCA in Hanover, where I really got my start. And honestly, she filled me with so many ideas and interest in the early childhood community. And I remember sitting in VOTEC at the big meeting with all the flip charts where we determined that Focus on Our Future was a really great place to go with our early childhood initiative here. And let me tell you, your county is a leader in early childhood across the state and even in other states, and we are very proud of the work that we do here. I just want to say this community raised me. I'm so thankful for the Women's Giving Circle and to the York Community Foundation. I think that this is just such an honor, and I'm so pleased to be here. Thank you.
Our next award goes to Beth Gill-MacDonald, founder of Pappas House, a hospice care residence that aims to support families in the end of life. Beth?
Thank you so much. I feel truly honored and grateful to have the opportunity to be here and to celebrate all the wonderful things that happen in York County. And I'm particularly proud of all the work of the community members who helped bring about Pappas House. And many of them are here, right over there. And credit goes to them for all their hard work over the years to make Pappas House come to be. And also, I wanted to say it's never about one person. It's always about a group of people who come together to make things happen, as evident by many of the people here today. And lastly, I'd just say, how can we not forget Carolyn Steinhauser for her strong leadership, her commitment to community. She really made things happen, and it's because of her that we're honored today. Thank you so much.
All right, wonderful. Let's give these ladies one more round of applause. Congratulations, Ruby and Beth. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Liz Dellinger. I am YCCF Board Secretary, and I chair the Resource Development Committee. Tonight, we are gathering to celebrate generosity in action and the partnerships that make lasting change possible in York County. Each of you reminds us that when people come together around shared values, extraordinary things happen. Your vision, your commitment, and your deep love for this community are helping shape a future that is more vibrant, compassionate, and connected. Because of your generosity, York County is more than a place we call home. It's a place where opportunities grow, families flourish, and future generations are empowered to dream bigger. Through your partnership with the Community Foundation, you are doing more than giving in the moment. You are investing in possibility and helping build a future that will continue to unfold long after today. Those we honor tonight share a profound commitment to making a difference. We are deeply grateful for your trust. Together, we are turning generosity into lasting impact. Your legacy is not only a reflection of who you are, it's a promise to the York County of tomorrow. Tonight, we are proud to remember and welcome the newest members of our 1749 Legacy Society. Named for the year York County was founded, the 1749 Legacy Society celebrates visionary individuals who have chosen to formally partner with the Community Foundation through their estate plans, through their wills, through their retirement accounts, or a life insurance policy. These general commitments send a powerful message that your values and your love for York County will live on for generations. We thank you for your foresight, your partnership, and for your enduring commitment to this community. Let's all give these individuals a round of applause. Woo. The power of legacy giving was felt profoundly this past year. In 2025, generous donors made estate gifts totaling just over $2.5 million. Even beyond their lifetimes, these generous opportunities continue to work. They strengthen our community and ensure their values remain part of York County's story for years to come. In the past year alone, 24 new charitable funds were established at the Community Foundation, and each fund represents more than a financial gift. It carries a story, it carries a hope, and a shared commitment to the future. Together, these funds, they strengthen nonprofits, they expand opportunities, and they help build a York County where everyone has the chance to thrive. At your seats, you'll find a list of these new funds in your annual report. We invite you to take a moment to read their stories. Each one is a spark of generosity. Together, they form a powerful foundation for a vibrant and thriving future. And that spirit of generosity and shared purpose is exactly what tonight is all about. As we thought about a keynote for our 65th annual meeting, we knew we wanted someone who could help us celebrate the incredible generosity of this community and help us understand a little more deeply. As Natalie shared, people give to the Community Foundation to be a part of something bigger than themselves, to amplify their impact and join with others to create real change. But it raised an interesting question for us. What actually happens when people give? What do donors experience when they choose generosity? That curiosity led us to tonight's speaker. Cherian will take us inside the brain to explore what happens when we act generously and how those insights can shape the future of philanthropy and community leadership. Cherian Koshy is the author of the USA Today and Amazon bestseller, Neurogiving, the science of donor decision-making. He's the vice president at Kindsight and serves on the boards of the Association of Financial Professionals and the Giving Institute. And for the past 30 years, he's served in executive leadership positions, helping organizations transform engagement by applying behavioral science and neuroscience to build authentic trust and drive action. Please join me in giving a warm York County welcome to Cherian Koshy.
It was May of 1940, and the British Expeditionary Force was trapped at Dunkirk. Behind them was the sea. In front of them was the German army. Above them were bombs, smoke, and the sound of a war closing in. This was the possible destruction of an army. And the terrible irony was, even rescue had a problem. The big ships, the ships that you would expect to save the day, couldn't get close enough to shore. The obvious solution estimated that fewer than 30,000 troops could be saved. They needed a different kind of vessel. They needed boats that could get close enough to shore. They needed ordinary people willing to head toward danger with whatever they had. And so they came. Fishing boats, ferries, lifeboats, paddle boats. When the evacuation ended, more than 300,000 troops had been rescued. They couldn't stop the war. They couldn't redraw the map. They couldn't control the forces tearing Europe apart. But they could take a boat. They could cross the water. They could bring somebody home. And that's what I think is the best part about humanity. The deepest truth about what it means to be human. When the world becomes too large, too unstable, too frightening, we look for an oar. We look for something we can still do. And that's why I want to talk with you today about generosity. Because in times like these, and let's be honest about the moment that we're living in, generosity is not just kindness, it's not just charity, it's not just a gift or a pledge or a line item in a budget. Generosity is agency. It's one of the ways that human beings reclaim power in the middle of uncertainty. The economy feels uncertain, the news feels relentless, the problems feel big. And when problems feel big, we are told an old lie. And that lie is that people, human beings, do something when they are scared. They freeze, they pull back, they stop getting involved. But here's what's fascinating. That's not the whole story, because neuroscience has shown us time and time again that something cuts against that narrative. When human beings face uncertainty, real uncertainty, we actually search for something. We search for something when we are scared, something we can still do, something that restores the feeling of agency. And one of the most powerful things the brain finds, one of the most reliable ways that human beings reclaim a sense of control when the world feels uncontrollable, is generosity. Now, before we go any further, I want to say something directly about the room that we're sitting in. You did not have to be here tonight. Think about what you actually chose. A community foundation's 65th annual celebration on a Thursday in May, when there are probably 3 other things that you could be doing tonight, 2 of which involve a couch and a remote control. And yet, here you are, dressed very nicely at a hotel on a Thursday for a birthday party for a foundation. That is a very specific type of person. And the neuroscience has something very specific to say about that. You are already living the thing that I'm about to describe. The science didn't make you this way. It just explains why you have already been this way. So let me show you what is actually happening in that brain of yours. We've been telling the wrong story about human nature, and the story goes like this. Times get hard, people get selfish, scarcity breeds fear, fear breeds pulling back. But that's not what the data actually shows. When things get hard, when the stakes are real, when the need is visible, when the community is hurting, people help. Again and again, across cultures, across contexts, what the research finds the exact same thing. And you already knew this, you are living it, that's why you're here. So let me show you what's happening underneath. The brain is built for this. That's not a motivational poster, that's a research finding. And here's the first thing the science tells us. People don't give because they're persuaded, they give because it matches who we believe that we are. The brain runs a self-concept system constantly. It's always asking, is this me? Is this consistent with who I think I am? When an opportunity to give aligns with how someone sees themselves, the brain says yes before the rational mind goes looking for the receipt. This isn't a weakness, this is architecture. Most of us have been treating generosity as something we need to create. But the science says generosity is already there. The question is whether we're building environments that let it activate. The second finding, and this one surprises people until we think about it for a couple of seconds, is that giving activates the very same neural reward patterns as eating something you enjoy. The warm glow metaphor, so the warm glow is actually not a metaphor, it's a measurable brain activity. They put these pieces on people's brains and measure functional MRI studies, and they've shown that when people give, the mesolimbic pathways light up. The exact same circuitry that says, this feels good, do it again. So if you've ever made a year-end gift and you suddenly felt inexplicably cheerful for the rest of the day, now you know why. Your brain is not confused, it's working exactly as designed. You are, technically speaking, a very efficient biological reward mechanism who also happens to be very tax efficient. It's fantastic. That reward signal is the strongest when the giving feels personal, when it feels local, when it feels connected to identity. Not abstract, not obligatory, yours. Generosity is not a luxury. It is a coping mechanism. In uncertain times, giving restores a sense of agency and control. The research is super clear on this. When people feel helpless, generosity is how we say, I may not be able to fix everything, but I can fix something. I can still do something. That's not soft, that is survival. Now let me bring this home to this county. 1 in 4 families in York County live paycheck to paycheck. 1 in 3 adults are over the age of 55 and will need additional care in the next 10 to 20 years. 1 in 3 adults report poor mental health. When the world feels heavy, and it does, right here in this community, the impulse to give is not naive. It is neurologically rational. The brain is looking for a way to matter, and every person in this room, whether you write the check, steward the gift, or advise the client, you are part of how that impulse finds a path. Now, here's the part that nobody says out loud. We spend all our time talking about what your gift does to others, but the science has something to say about what it does for you. Regular givers live measurably longer lives. That is one of the strongest predictors of longevity in the research literature. People who give report significantly higher well-being, less depression, and a stronger sense of purpose, independent of how much they give. And the act of giving activates positive affect systems that measurably improve immune response. So let me be very direct, and you can write this down. Your generosity is literally keeping you alive, which means that if anyone questions your charitable giving, technically speaking, that is a public health threat. Now, I say that lovingly, but the point is, the science has decided you should feel great about this. And I just recommend that you let it. Let yourself feel good about it. Now, if you're a donor and you give through this foundation or to organizations represented here tonight, your giving is not a luxury. It's part of how your brain processes the world and how it keeps you feeling healthy and purposeful and connected. Protecting the conditions that make it easy to keep doing what you are doing, what it's already built to do. So if people are built to give, and if the wiring is already there, if the reward circuitry is already ready to fire, and if the science says generosity is how we reclaim control, then why does giving sometimes feel so hard? I've asked this question in rooms full of nonprofit professionals, and they had thoughts, strong thoughts. Several of them had additional slides. But the answer is not what most people predict. In fact, the answer is not motivation, the answer is friction. Because the brain does not distinguish between hard and wrong. When a process is complex, too many steps, too much jargon, too many choices, the brain interprets that friction as a signal to stop. Not because the person doesn't want to give, not because we don't want to do something good, but because the brain is protecting us from what feels like might be a bad decision. Complexity friction, too many steps, too many choices, too much jargon. The paradox of choice applies to philanthropy just like it applies to everything else. So if you're a nonprofit here today and your online donation form has 12 required fields and a CAPTCHA, let's talk later. Identity friction, when the giving experience doesn't feel like me, when the language is too corporate, too transactional, too impersonal, the brain has a natural tendency to disengage. The identity match breaks. Any feedback friction, when the donor can't see or feel the impact of their gift, the reward circuit doesn't fire. There's no feedback, no warm glow, no repeat behavior. Friction is not a fundraising problem, it's a neuroscience problem. So for those nonprofits in the room, your best donors don't leave angry, they just go quiet. And that's actually harder because angry donors tell you what's wrong. Trust me, I know. It may not be about your mission. Your mission is fine. It may not be about your case for support or your materials. The need is real. It may be about your process. When the giving experience feels personal and local, connected to values, the brain says yes. When it feels like a transaction, the brain disengages, not with drama, with silence. Every step you remove is a signal. This is safe, this is clear, this is you. Now, if you're an advisor in the room tonight, You know a different moment. You're in a client meeting, things are going well, you mentioned charitable giving, and suddenly they need a glass of water. Or a bathroom break. I'm not gonna leave right now, but there's something extremely urgent on their phone that wasn't urgent a moment ago. That's not disinterest, that's friction. It's not that they don't care, that conversation just suddenly feels complicated. The brain reads complicated as not now, which eventually becomes never. If you've ever had a client say, I'll think about it, and then never brought it up again, you have both experienced feedback friction firsthand. Now, here's something worth knowing. 70% of clients want to discuss charitable giving with their advisor. 70%, but they wait for the advisor to raise it first. 70%. So 7 out of 10 of your clients are sitting in the room across the table thinking, I hope they bring it up. And 7 out of 10 of the clients the advisors are saying, I don't want to feel pushy. Everyone in the room is waiting and nobody wins. Clients who do have purpose and legacy conversations with their advisors report significantly higher satisfaction and trust. They stay longer and they refer more. This isn't altruism. This is good business that happens to do good things for the world. What if you led with identity instead of structure? Most advisors say things like, have you thought about a charitable lead trust? What if you tried, tell me the kind of person you want to be remembered as? Now, I know that sounds like a therapist question, but I promise it will start a better conversation for both of you, and you don't charge by the hour, so it'll be fine. The brain responds to identity before it responds to structure. So lead with who they are, and the structure follows. So here's the shift for all of us. The old assumption says generosity requires persuasion, a better case, a stronger appeal, a more compelling argument. The organization's job is to convince. The donor's job is to be convinced. The new governing belief is that generosity is the default. This is who we are. People are already wired to give. The question is whether the environment makes acting on that wiring easy, clear, and connected to who they already are. The job is not to manufacture motivation, it's to remove friction. And if you want proof that that works, you're sitting in it. In 1961, a community foundation was established in York County. Quiet ambition, hold resources in trust for the good of a community. For 30 years, it waited, essentially dormant. In 1992, the year Bill and Hillary Clinton stayed in this very hotel on the campaign trail to the presidency, total assets were just over $1 million. Total grants that year, $38,750. $38,750. Then something changed. Not a new appeal, not a better pitch, an environment. A decision to make generosity easier, clearer, and more connected to what people in this county already cared about. They set a goal to reach $5 million. They hit it in 2 years, early. And today, 65 years after that founding, this foundation holds more than $200 million in assets. It awarded $12 million in grants and scholarships last year alone. This isn't a fundraising story. This is a neuroscience case study. $200 million in assets, $12 million in grants and scholarships, 700 charitable funds. This foundation reduced complexity friction by creating multiple pathways for giving. 700 funds, donor advised, scholarship, field of interest, designated. You don't have to invent your own way in. There's already a door that fits. It reduced identity friction by staying local, personal, and community rooted. Give Local York raised more than $20 million, not by making the best pitch, but by making giving feel like belonging. And it reduced feedback friction by connecting donors to visible local impact. You can see where your gift lands. It's not abstract. It is York County. When you remove all three forms of friction, this is what happens. $200 million, 65 years, one fund at a time. Generosity did not need to be manufactured. It just needed to be matched with the right tools. When the environment matches the wiring, giving becomes the default, not the exception. The default. This is what this foundation built. Over 65 years, one fund at a time, one donor at a time, one act of trust at a time. So I want you to think back. York County, 1961. Maybe some of you were here. Most of you were not. The factory's running. The streets look different. The challenges look different. And someone just like the people in this room, stood up and said, what if we held something in trust? Not for ourselves, for the people who come after, that we will never meet. That's the question that started all of this. Now imagine this. York County, 2091, 65 years from today. Who are the people living here? What do they need? What did we build? Or what did we fail to build for them? What will they say about the people in this room tonight? That's not a rhetorical question. It's a question that every act of generosity is quietly answering. You are built to give. The science says so. The history says so. This room says so. 65 years ago, someone in this community made a quiet decision. Hold something in trust, not for themselves, for the people who come after. Every year since, through every gift, every fund, every scholarship, every dollar that moved from one person's conviction to another person's need, that decision compounded. Not because anyone was persuaded or convinced, because the environment was right, because generosity had a home in this foundation. What will you build around that impulse so it keeps going? So as you leave here tonight and head back to your couch and your remote control, I hope you remember this. When the world feels unsteady, generosity helps people find their footing. And that's what you offer. You offer an oar. Most people will never steer a battleship, but they may be given a little boat. One honest act of courage, one chance to do some good while the world still shakes. And when that moment comes, they will need someone to call them upward, someone to say, this is not nothing, this is not small. This is how we bring people home. So go home proud. You help love become visible. The boats are still needed, so keep rowing, keep calling people into courage, because history does not change only through might. Sometimes it changes because ordinary people are handed an oar. Thank you.
Thank you, Cherian. What we heard tonight was fascinating, right? For those of us who do this work every day, it's also deeply validating because we've seen that moment across the table from a donor, the moment when something shifts, when a decision moves from financial to meaningful, from transaction to purpose. And while science can explain what happens in the brain, there's something it still can't measure. I'm Michelle Mummert. I'm the Vice President of Grants and Community Engagement for YCCF. In my role, I get to have the privilege of seeing what happens next. I get to be inside the nonprofits that you support. I sit in the rooms where staff are solving problems, stretching their resources, and working every day to meet real needs in our community. I meet the families whose lives change because someone cared enough to give. I see the after-school programs full of kids who now have a safe place to go. I see the food pantries where shelves are stocked and families feel relief. I see the arts programs, the parks, the classrooms, the counseling rooms, the emergency shelters. Your generosity doesn't feel abstract in those spaces. What it feels is immediate, personal, and real. Over and over again, I'm reminded of one simple truth. The needs in our community, they're not going to disappear. They may change, they might evolve, but York County will always need people who care enough to make sure that help is there when it's needed, and they support the nonprofits who are meeting those needs. That's why tonight is so important, because we're not just talking about impact today, we're talking about it forever, talking about impact that will outlast all of us. So tonight, we are officially launching our 65th anniversary Community Endowment Campaign. And to explain why this kind of giving matters most, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Phil, our Giving Planning Officer.
Thank you. When we talk about endowment, we're talking about a different kind of gift. An endowment is permanently invested. The goal is to protect the principal, so the long-term growth is used to support local nonprofits and the needs of this community forever. So your gift keeps working. Next year, 10 years from now, 25, 50 years from now. It continues to grow so that when new challenges arise, and we all know they will, this community is ready. This campaign is designed so everyone can participate. We're inviting the community to give at 3 levels: $6,500, $650, and $65. This isn't about a few donors, it's about all of us together. A gift of $65 is meaningful. It's permanent, it grows, and it never stops working. Here's what we're building together: 10 donors at $6,500 to anchor the campaign, 100 donors at $650 to build momentum, and 250 donors at $65 to show this community belongs to everyone. That's 360 donors helping create grants that come full circle. One permanent endowment and a future shaped by all of us. And I will add, that future lasts forever.
Okay, now a little bit of time to stretch. You've been sitting for quite a while. So we're going to do a little bit of an exercise. If you work for or serve on the board of a nonprofit, raise your hand for us. Okay, keep your hand up. If you've ever donated, volunteered, or supported a nonprofit, raise your hand. Raise your other hand if you did both. Okay. Now, raise your hand if a nonprofit has ever touched your life or the life of someone you love? If you ran out of hands, you can stand up. So, look around the room. This is why we're all here. If you care about this community, and I know you all do, I think, based on what we learned today, the lifespan average in this room is probably pretty high. We've got generous people. Today's your invitation to help us shape the future in a new way. So there's a QR code on the screen. Our YCCF team is here tonight. We can answer any questions or help you make your gift. If tonight's not the right time, there's no pressure. Just know there's an open door and an opportunity to do something meaningful to help us celebrate the 65 years of community generosity together for York County. So thank you for being here. Thank you for everything you already give to this community. And also thank those of you who choose to join us in advance for what you're about to make possible for generations to come. Now we invite you to stay, join us for a reception, celebrating our York community and the partnerships that make this a great place for everyone to thrive. But first, we're going to have one last song from the Wild Hymns. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
I feel a whole lot of joy now. All these dreams keep on coming true. I feel a whole lot of love now, 'cause you are me and I am you. I'm feeling really excited.